When we talk about global power, things are rarely what they seem. And I've been looking into Iran, and it's just this perfect example of a massive contradiction, a real paradox sitting at the heart of the country.
So, on one side of the coin, you've got this regional giant, right? A country that can literally threaten to turn off the world's oil tap. It projects this image of immense strength, defying superpowers and flexing its muscles all over the Middle East. But then you flip that coin over, and the sources I've been reading paint a totally different picture. They show a state that has been secretly and systematically taken apart from the inside out for decades. We're talking a country so infiltrated, its biggest secrets are stolen, and its smartest people are killed right on their own streets. So how can both of these things be true at the same time? That's what we're going to unpack. Okay, so first, let's talk about that fortress. To really get a handle on Iran's power, you have to look at this one tiny little strip of water. It's their ultimate weapon. Now get this, 20%, 1/5 of all the oil the world runs on has to sail through this one narrow channel, and Iran is sitting right there watching it all go by. If they decide to shut it down, boom, global economic crisis, just like that. And here's the kicker, they don't even need some massive, expensive navy to do it. They figured this out way back in the 1980s during what was called the tanker war. They learned that a few cheap sea mines worth maybe a couple $1,000 can completely take out a $50 million super tanker. It is the definition of fighting smart, not hard. And this is where their strategy gets really, really clever. The whole point isn't just to win a local fight. It's to make everyone, everywhere, feel the pain. They want the guy in Germany to pay more for heat and the person in Egypt to pay more for gas. It's economic warfare on a global scale. So what's their ace in the hole? It's time. They believe they can just wait out their enemies. They know that any conflict that drags on will make oil prices go through the roof, and that puts incredible pressure on Western leaders to just give up and go home. For Iran, a long, drawn-out conflict isn't a problem. It's the entire plan. But here's the twist. Behind this image of an impenetrable fortress, a totally different war has been going on for years. A quiet, secret war that has turned Iran completely inside out. See, back in the day, Iran was pretty much calling the shots. Their proxies were hitting targets from Lebanon all the way to Argentina. But then around 2002, the game completely changed. According to the sources, Israeli intelligence basically said, okay, forget fighting their friends abroad. We're going to take the fight inside Iran. And that's exactly what they did. So how on earth did they pull that off? Well, they found the cracks in Iranian society and wedged them wide open. They recruited from three main groups. You had ideological enemies who wanted revenge, you had ethnic minorities who felt ignored by the government, and maybe the biggest group of all, you had regular people struggling to get by who were willing to sell secrets for cold, hard cash. And the results of this massive 2-decade-long infiltration campaign, well, let's just say it's been an absolute disaster for Iran. I mean, just try to wrap your head around this one. In one night, agents on the ground in Tehran broke into a secret warehouse and walked out with 1/2 ton of documents. That's 55,000 pages, detailing Iran's entire secret nuclear program. The scale of that intelligence failure is just staggering. And the attacks weren't just physical, they went digital. You've probably heard of the Stuxnet virus. It was smuggled into Iran's most secure nuclear facility. No bombs, no explosions, just a piece of code that secretly made about 1,000 of their centrifuges spin themselves to death, setting their nuclear program back years. But this next one, this sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. When they took out Iran's top nuclear scientist, it wasn't some classic spy hit. No, an Iranian agent simply parked a pickup truck on the side of the road. Inside that truck was a remote-controlled machine gun hooked up to a satellite. The scientist's car drives by, and an operator sitting in a control room hundreds of miles away in Tel Aviv pulls the trigger. It's just unbelievable. And he wasn't the only one. This was a long, systematic campaign. Over a decade, more than 15 of the country's best and brightest scientists and engineers were picked off one by one. They were essentially cutting the head off of Iran's most sensitive programs. So you see what's happening here? When you lay these two stories side by side, the mighty fortress and the hollowed-out core, you get to the heart of this paradox. On the one hand, you've got this incredible external strength, that chokehold on global oil, powerful proxy armies, a huge arsenal of missiles. But on the other, you have this crippling internal weakness. Spies everywhere, scientists who can't be protected, and secrets that are impossible to keep.
So, what do we even call this? The sources I'm looking at call it precarious power. It's this idea of a nation that looks incredibly strong on the outside, but its insides are fragile and compromised. It's like a house of cards. It looks impressive, but one well-placed push, and the whole thing could just collapse. And that really leads us to this final, pretty chilling thought. Iran is a shocking case study, for sure. But it makes you wonder, how many other countries that look strong and stable are actually being quietly hollowed out from the inside, just waiting for someone, somewhere, to give the signal?